When we come up with ideas, there's almost like an emotional feeling that we get, and we're so excited. What do you think? How do you look at that, John? So there's emotion, and then there's making good business decisions or better business decisions. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you get, personally, I feel like if you get bogged down with business decisions, that it'll destroy your creativity. And people are like, wait a second, someone's going to steal my idea. I say, okay, fine, but I've never been. My wife may disagree, but I've never really been full of myself. I've never really thought I was all that good at anything. And so, if you look at my career, if you would come see me live in concert, you'll see the most amazing band you've ever seen, because that's who I hire. And nowadays with the gig economy, you can find attorneys. I just booked for a half hour an attorney. His name is Ian Corzine, who is an expert on NFTs and crypto. I just spent an hour talking to him because he's an expert. There are so many experts out there that can help you. And so now, this time for an inventor, there's never been a better time. But I'll also tell you that everything that I've done, whether it was putting together a public television special, starting my own record company that we ended up selling for $11 million, starting this radio show that reaches 7 million people every week, still, it has Fortune 500 advertisers. With any of that stuff that I created, I went and found the people who were the best at it, and I cold called them. Either that, or I read their book. One of the first books I ever read was Houdini. As a little kid, all the information is out there, and there's a great book, probably my favorite book to mention today, which is Austin Kleon's "Steal Like an Artist." Steal like an artist, and it's like, wait a second, I don't want to steal anybody's stuff. It's not about that. It's about figuring out what you want to do, and then look at the people who have done that and done that at a high level, and study them, study everything about them, and then try to emulate them. You'll never get there, but you'll get there you'll get far enough as your own person that all of a sudden you'll start absorbing their traits. So for me, it was Rick Wakeman from Yes, the keyboard player, and Oscar Peterson, the great jazz player for in music for announcers. It was actually a guy that's still on the air now in New York, I believe, Chuck Scarborough. When I was a kid, I used to study him. I had all of his tapes, and I would emulate the way he spoke, and all of these things. And all of a sudden, when you start emulating all of these people, you'll start seeing everything. You'll start seeing the playing field differently, and that's really what it is with creativity. When you'll see things differently, and then just spending time alone in quiet and listening. And I mean just listening to nothing, listening to birds, meditating. We're always consuming so much stuff. I make this mistake myself, but then when I go for a nice long walk, all of a sudden, like, wait a second, this is really what I should be doing on stage, or this is what I should do on the radio show. When the Intelligence for Your Life was created, when radio stations were full of programs, countdown shows and love songs at night or whatever. And I looked at that playing field and I said, what is it? What am I interested in? I'm interested in curated information, the best information out there from the highest sources. And I'm interested in being on the radio. So I combined those two things, and I said, well, if I can hire a staff that will curate they'll take 5,000 word articles and turn them into 250 words, and then surround them with music, it might be a radio show. And we started with my executive producers, Scott Myers and Betsy Chase, on like 5 stations. And we kept testing it, and we would prototype it, and we would change it, and we would add a little bit, and stations would try to sign up, and we said, no, we're not ready yet. Let us continue to tweak it. And so, very similar to what I think of what an inventor would come up with. So,
for those of you who listen to the radio, and I know that you have it on your website also, which you could share, but all of a sudden, like, there would be a break after the music that you're listening to, and all of a sudden John has Intelligence for your life, different types of inspiration and tips and tricks and all kinds of trendy type of things, and it's really interesting. And you also have the John Tesh Show. Is that the same as Intelligence for Your Life?
Yeah, the John Tesh Radio Show, Intelligence for Your Life. That's what it is, and it's on. You can find, if you just go to tesh.com, which is our website. There's a station finder that's in there, and a lot of what we do is we have a mantra that we live. I actually have it on my phone here. What does it say? Well, first of all, one of the things we say is, if it doesn't make you better, healthier, happier, or much more interesting, we won't put it on the show. But also this, as I have this as my homepage, what is the direct perceived benefit? That's a question that all of us on this, watching this and broadcasting, should be asking when we create anything. What is the direct perceived benefit of what I'm inventing? What is the direct perceived benefit of doing my radio show? People will pick up a tip that'll make their life better. Everything that you create, I believe, should be able to answer. You should be able to answer that question. What is the direct perceived benefit? Because what people are looking for now is they're looking to get out of pain, whatever that is, whatever their pain point is. If you're creating something that's interesting, it won't last very long. But if you're creating something that actually gets people out of that cures a pain point for them, and that has benefit for them, and that's that's a huge list of what anybody can create, then you've got something.
You use intellectual property, you use copyrights, you use trademarks.
Oh yeah, yes. I think that one of the mistakes I made back in the day was, I get an idea and I was like, let's create a website. Let's go to GoDaddy and go for a website like that. It doesn't guarantee you any success. Just like having a record in the stores doesn't guarantee you any success. It's if the product is great and you're finished, you're done with it, right? And you can send it out there. It will literally sell itself as long as you give it position where it needs to be. Of course, you have to protect everything with trademark and copyright. But yeah, there's still so many opportunities out there because look at just what happened with the pandemic. People who created businesses, for better or for worse, out of that. And there are so many people right now. If you want to know an area that is increased 1,000-fold, it is digital courses. And there are plenty of entrepreneurs and inventors who are listening to us right now, Brian, who are like, okay, well, I got to think of what should I do for right now? Well, while you're coming up with the next big invention, there's probably something that you know how to do that you can teach and teach what you know. And while you're doing that, you'll have good, consistent passive income while you're creating your next big thing.